introducing new information necessary for the formation of complex species. And then early Genesis should be read as theological story or myth. And so you have three different models or approaches with evolution, creationism, debate, depending upon how you view science and faith. All right, how much time do I have left?
You have
20 minutes? Oh man, this is going slower now.
No, actually. No,
Did it increase the time? 10 minutes? Good, 10 minutes. All right. So let me finish off with just making 5 points. 5 points on this particular issue. 5 points, and then I'll be done. Number one, 5 points. Everyone has a worldview. Everyone has a paradigm, right? Everyone has a worldview. Everyone has a paradigm. Two quick statements underneath that. Number one, worldviews precede science. One does not come neutral to the scientific data and then allow the data to construct your worldview. It doesn't work that way. Everyone is born into a worldview by the virtue of the fact that you're born into a particular family that lives under a particular set of traditions, religious beliefs, or even culture. So that everyone has a worldview, and the worldview precedes the doing of science. So that when you ask the fundamental questions of life, does God exist? What is the ultimate meaning of life? What is right or wrong? Is there life after death? All these questions are answered for you before the scientific investigation. You may change your mind, but you already have a set of beliefs before you investigate. Second quick point under that, and all worldviews are accepted by faith. It is a faith commitment, not reason. Why? Because the worldview that we adopt by trust. So that when I tell my kids, Katie and Rachel, that there is a God, they never question that belief. Why? Because they don't question me. Because they trust me, they adopt by faith the worldview that I hold. So that they believe that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who died on the cross for them. Now, they may change their mind later on, God forbid, because of reasons, but they had beliefs before they had reasons. In other words, faith always precedes reason. And this is not modern. This is as old as Augustine, who argued that faith seeks knowledge, that you have to have faith before you can have knowledge. In fact, St. Anselm argued that faith works itself out in knowledge. So that when scientists come and say Christianity is all about faith, but science is all about reason, they have deluded themselves into thinking that their faith commitments do not affect their process of reasoning. That is an Enlightenment commitment of which the majority of academics, except in certain isolated fields, have rejected. What do we call that today? Well, I'm not supposed to ask questions because you're non-responsive. But I asked it anyway. What do we call that? It's no longer modern, it's postmodern, right? It's postmodern. And postmodernism has its extremes, but the central tenet of postmodernism is that all truth claims are contextualized. That you're contextualized by your frame of reference academically, culturally, ethnically, religiously. And your context defines the meaning of your faith claim. So when I say the word hot and I ask you, what does it mean? You can give me a number of different responses, but it's the context, doesn't it? That determine what that meaning is. So if I say hot and I'm a chef in the kitchen, it means one thing. I'm in an Asian restaurant, it's another. If I'm playing tennis and say, man, he's hot, that means one thing. I'm at a singles party and says, man, she's hot. That means something else, right? When an electrician says it's hot versus a weatherman, see, everything is contextualized. So that when I open the Bible, what I understand it to say is hugely affected by my youth pastor and the things that he told me. So that when a comes to the data, he must admit or concede that his faith claims determine which players are allowed. And in science today, it's only naturalistic explanations that are allowed to play. Well, two quick illustrations, but I'll just use Dawkins because this book is a major, one of the bestsellers in terms of its particular area of field. And so Richard Dawkins has become the high priest of atheism today. And blind Watson, I'll start with this and then I'll work over here. But in fact, I spoke in a science class, Dr. David Hall, maybe, 8, 9 years ago. And this was the text that they were using, so it's pretty well accepted. And one of the things that he says in the beginning of this text is, moreover, I want to persuade the reader not just that the Darwinian worldview happens to be true, but it is the only known theory that could, in principle, solve the mystery of life. In principle, Darwinian evolution is the only explanation for it. Is that a scientific statement or is that a worldview statement? That's a worldview statement. Toward the end of his last chapter, he says, my argument will be that Darwinianism is the only known theory that is, in principle, capable of explaining certain aspects of life. If I am right, it means that even if there were no actual evidence in favor of the Darwinian theory, we should still be justified in preferring it. I thought science dealt with evidence and theory. But even if there was no evidence, it's the only logical option. Why? Because as an atheist, there's no other player in the ballgame. In fact, he goes on to write in terms of Darwinianism. Darwin made it possible for me to be an intellectually fulfilled atheist. In other words, he's an atheist before he comes to the data. He will interpret the data in line with his worldview. I'm not saying that's only him. It's true of everyone. That's how I interpret it as well. The reason why I think certain arguments for the existence of God are so strong is because of my worldview. I concede that. I concede that. And in the God delusion, he's arguing against the God hypothesis that there's a supernatural intelligent being that transcends the world. This book will advocate an alternative view. Any creative intelligence of sufficient complexity to design anything comes into existence only at the end product of an extended process of gradual evolution. Did you hear what he said? Every agent capable of creative design